You're not ungrateful. You're awake. This is the Dignity Room, a place that's always yours. Come in.
Notice what you do before you say anything about what you need. You think about whether this is a good time, or you think about whether he is tired or stressed or in the middle of something. You think about whether what you need is reasonable or too much, or something you should just handle yourself. You think about how to phrase it so it doesn't sound like a complaint. Then one of two things happens. You say a softened, careful version of what you actually need, or you decide to do like, nothing. So you decide the moment isn't right and you say, nothing at all. That whole process runs so automatically you barely notice it anymore. It doesn't feel like suppression. It feels like being considerate. But there's a version of what you actually need that never gets said. And it's been building for longer than you realize. So the last two episodes were about understanding the loneliness, the reason the team quietly replaced the couple. This one is about doing something, saying the thing that usually doesn't get said. So there's an editing process that runs before you say anything about need. And probably it looks like this. First, you think, is this reasonable? So you check the need against some internal standards of what's acceptable to want. If some part of you decides it's too much, it gets filled under things you shouldn't need and you move on without it. Then, second, you think, is this a good time? So you scan his mood before you say anything. He just got home stressed from something at work, or the kids are mid meltdown, or he's quiet in that particular way that usually means don't add anything right now. There's almost always a reason. The moment isn't quite right. And the reason is rarely untrue. It's just also rarely the actual reason you stay quiet. And then third, you think, how do I say this so it doesn't sound like a criticism? This pass takes the most work. By the end of it, what you're about to say is so softened, it's barely recognizable as the original need. Then you either say the managed version, which is so gentle it doesn't get the response it actually needed, or you say nothing and the need goes back underground. What accumulates over years of this isn't one unspoken need. It's hundreds. It's a whole catalog of things you wanted and quietly edited, or it's out of existence before anyone could hear them. So, what does the editing actually cost? Because there is the cost of yourself. Every time you edit a need out of existence before anyone can hear it, you send yourself a quiet message. What I want doesn't matter enough to risk staying. Then there's the cost to the relationship. And this one surprises most of us because needs that never get said directly don't just disappear. They come out somewhere else. So like as resentment over something unrelated, or as a flatness he can feel but can't explain, as irritability at the dishwasher being loaded wrong when the dishwasher was never actually the problem. And your partner can feel that something is off, but he can't respond to the need he was never told about. And then there is the deepest one. So your partner has met the managed version of you. So capable, adjusting, always fine. And he hasn't fully met the version with real, unconditioned needs. The one who wants something plainly and doesn't immediately apologize for it. That part has been kept out of the room, which means, in some real sense, the person you've chosen to build a life with doesn't fully know you. That's a particular kind of lonely. Not the loneliness of not being seen, the loneliness of not having shown up fully enough to be seen. So I think this is worth sitting with it. So to be clear, okay, I'm not asking you to have the big conversation right now or tonight or this week. So like the one about everything, about how this has been, about what you need going forward. That conversation matters, of course, but trying to force it from, like, let's say, inside of this podcast episode, would be definitely the wrong way into something that delicate, okay? Because this is something you have to, talk more often about it. It's not one conversation. You can fix this with one conversation. This has to be multiple conversations to get into it, to understand each other, to accept each other, and so on. So this all put everything in one conversation won't work, okay? So this week, find one need, okay? One thing you've been pre-editing into silence, and then say it. Not perfectly and not with ideal framing. So not like, I was wondering if maybe sometimes we could possibly, okay? No. This is like, in this way it will disappear again, and he won't understand that. Something closer to, I need more help with this, or I need you to know I'm struggling with something, whatever it is. So here's the disaster you've probably built in your head before saying it, because we all have what we think too much, right? And then we have like a problem, a need, whatever it is, and we think about it, and then we have this catastrophic thoughts about what will happen. And in reality, these things will never happen. But we fear the things we not know if this will ever happen. And like, this is the crazy part. So maybe you have this thought that he dismisses it, or he gets defensive, and it turns into an argument you didn't want. So like, he gets like, he don't get it, and then he discusses and arguments like, ugh. And sometimes, yes, one of those does happen, Yeah, and of course that's real and it tells you something worth knowing too, okay? Because having like arguments, it's not a bad thing because you get answers from this too. So avoiding this makes no sense. Of course, it's uncomfortable, but yeah, it gets more uncomfortable to don't say nothing at all. And yeah, but more often, what actually happens is smaller than that because he hears it. And maybe he's a little surprised, of course, because he hears this the first time. And maybe he asks a question back to get a better understanding of what you actually said. And the conversation doesn't collapse. It just becomes real for a minute instead of managed. So one need, say it plainly without the padding. That's where the unediting starts. So, of course, you have to practice it because when we do something the first time, it's always a mess and it's absolutely okay. And you have to start somewhere because you will never get better in something when you don't start at all. So keep it easy. Yeah, the first time you do this should be something where you are most likely comfortable with, and it's not like a big need. It's more like a smaller, easier one to start with. Okay, so that you get the feeling, that you see his reaction. Okay, to start with this is definitely better and definitely easier. And then it's an ongoing thing, okay? You can also do like you write your needs down because so you have the overview of your needs on your own. And then step by step, you get to him with one need after another, and then you can discuss it. You can, talk about it, yeah. And maybe you will be surprised that he will be very nice and helpful to meet your needs. Okay, you never know when you never ask and when you never talk about it. So start with one and with an easy one, and then moving forward with it. So yeah, here are 3 things to take with you today. 1, there's an editing process that runs before you say anything about a need. Is this reasonable? Is this the right moment? How do I phrase it so nobody is upset? And by the end, the need is either gone or so softened it's unreasonable. What builds up over years isn't one unspoken need, it's hundreds. And this causes, very, very much trouble. 2, pre-edited needs don't disappear. They come out sideways as resentment or flatness or irritability attached to the wrong thing. And the deepest cost, your partner has only met the managed version of you. The one with the real unconditioned needs has been kept out of the room. And he has no clue what happened. And 3, one need this week, say it plainly, not the biggest, not the perfectly, nothing what actually happens, not what you feared would happen. That's where the unediting starts. And really, give it a try.
Before you go, this podcast is where I talk. Dignity Queens is where we talk together. It's a circle of women who carry the same question you do and who show up for each other in their own words. If you're ready to stop doing this alone and actually be part of something, that's where to find them. The link's in the show notes. This was the Dignity Room.